Okay. All right. So okay. So here's the thing. So what you were just describing in the left hand, I switched to left. You can use the right,
Yeah.
but no. Let's use your left because it's the left. It's the left that's on is on discussion. Okay. I'll use my right, but it's the same. So
Hmm.
what you were just showing right now, when you would do this and the fingers wouldn't open,
Yeah.
right? I'm
Yeah.
thinking what the other part that you're saying is that you're turning your wrist and they wouldn't open, right? So
Correct.
so
Exactly.
right,
Exactly. Exactly.
right. So
Yeah.
so go ahead and put something there.
So like this, like they're not like instead of just kind of allowing them to open, which is
Right.
just literally just allowing the normal aperture of the fingers, you know.
That's it.
So
That's
this
what.
this literally just does it automatically, no need to do anything. But it's the
That's
fact that you're here and like if you actually keep it like this and putting pressure on it, that's never gonna work out.
if you're squeezing all the time. As Richard used to
Yeah,
tell us, you're squeezing all the time.
exactly.
So what it is, you have to accept that this is true.
Hmm.
You just have to accept that it's true, and that's the degree of faith. That's a product of faith. You have to believe that this is true, so that when this starts to happen, it just does that.
Hmm.
You don't need to throw them open. But if you hold it tight, which is what you're talking about, it does this. It doesn't do this. So okay. Now, in order for this to happen, a whole other things have to line up, right? It's really useful to have a really good, relaxed grip, right? A really good grip, coupled with accepting the fact that the hand is going to do that. It's just going to do that. Now, of course, you can always squeeze, right? Because that does become a tool that we'll eventually use. That's when you are able actually to squeeze really quickly to get notes. But right now, where you are is you just need to accept this is true,
Hmm.
right? And if you do that, then then Bob's your uncle. Now you were going to show it to me in the right, right? So you were going to show me how it works on the right.
Yeah, because so this is the thing, is like what I also obviously, based on your feedback, and I was like, well, how did it actually work on my right? And on my right, actually, I'm not like doing this. All the fingers are there anyway. So then I'm like, hold on, but then how does this actually work? Because I can clearly do this on my right. And, all the fingers are there. They're not doing anything. They're just reacting on the fact that the stick is bouncing. So if the stick is bouncing, obviously the fingers are gonna move. But if they just lay there relaxed, they're just gonna literally just oscillate with the stick.
That's what they're going to do. They're going to oscillate with the stick. See, and the other thing, as we were just talking about, the other thing to remember that's part of this scheme is the wrist turn. The wrist turn. That's the first thing that happens. See the wrist turn. See, and then those fingers can be part of that scheme that you were saying. Richard Wilson once said to Kevin, and I'll use the left to illustrate a point that works for the right. Okay, so one of the things he said, Kevin, was that the index finger has to be like a feather glued to a stick. Watch here, I'll show you.
Like a good stick. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Watch here, I'll show it to you. Oops, just give me a second. I'll show it to you in close up. Okay, so you see the index finger. Look, see it bounces with the stick,
Yeah, exactly.
right? See it?
It's not doing anything per se. It's
It
just
just bounces with the stick. See? Now I can use it, right? But in the beginning, right, we're holding it here, the crotch of the thumb, between the two metacarpal bones, in a relaxed fashion. But that's bouncing, right? Now this couples with what you were just saying, which I can use either hand, right? So if you look at the fingers, hold on a second, I need to open another app. Just give me 1 second here. So in regards to what you were saying about how these fingers just work alongside that. How come my app's not opening? Oh, there we go. Thank you very much. Okay, now I can show it to you. Now this couples with what you were just saying. Okay, look at those fingers. They do the same thing,
Exactly.
which is what you were saying. So this, you can see how the index finger just bounces along here.
It's the same philosophy, yeah?
The same thing. Yeah, it's the very same thing. So what you were saying, I completely agree with, and it works across both grips. So what you're looking to do now is you're asking your left to accept it, right? Which is what that's what you're working on now.
It's difficult, man. It's difficult. Like I've also noticed, kind of like related with that, but not necessarily. So the other thing I've also noticed is that often, particularly like if I'm doing, like, this, okay, so like a throw, what happens also often is that when I come to kind of here, like, if I'm holding it here, I can't get sufficient kind of thrust to it.
If you're holding it too tight, it won't go up.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And like, it's so interesting because I was noticing like a lot of like back beats that I was doing, and I can feel immediately when like, oh crap, it didn't went as high as it should be, because it's like the fingers are there kind of trying to hold it down, versus just kind of allowing them to, do this.
Well, well, remember, it's always good to understand what's the entire track. So if you're doing this, a backbeat, right? So that's where you feel the release, right? This is where you'll feel the release. Here, I'll join you. See, there's the release. Squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze. There, see, there's a release. And if you allow that release to happen, release. And then you can even come up higher. You can come up following this along, see? You can come up higher, like that. And then there's squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release. Yeah, it's like that, see? Now, along with that, if you can concentrate on where this is here, this fulcrum, right? There. Do you see it? It even changed tone. Let me make sure my lighting's okay.
I can see it just fine, man.
No, yeah, I know, but this lighting gets really wanky on this thing. Let's see. Changed. Okay. You just what Richard used to say, that it felt like free fall, or it actually feels like you're throwing an object. So you'll feel the torque rush out to the tip. See? Because you can see it going right to the tip. So it's this continuous motion here as this force rushes to the tip.
I can do it consistently well, because like sometimes I still feel like my back fingers are doing something about it.
Right, but you're aware of it, right? As I mentioned, the first thing to solve any problem is just simply awareness. Okay, don't lose sight of the wrist turn though. Just don't lose sight of the, if you do it in slow motion, you'll just feel the relaxation of when it releases and you turn, but turn even higher. Go ahead and come up. No, just do it in slow motion. So here, turn. There, see? Here, turn. This, how Murray has students do it is you come to here and then you go up. If you remember from Murray's video.
It's
right?
like this and then like this.
Yeah, it's like that. Oh, that's right. You studied with Christian,
Yeah.
right? Right? Right. Well, here, but then you have to turn up because if you turn to here, you recognize that his arm is coming up. See how the arm has come up? See? And then when you turn up here, if you follow the stick up in this direction, your arm will come up. No, you can come up higher. There you go. See? That's how high you can come. Right? So what we're looking to do then, which may be happening, and we'll explore it a little bit more, but maybe you're inhibiting movement here. Right? Maybe you're not allowing this to move. Right? So if you're not inhibiting anything, you would come up to. Once again, I didn't study with Murray. I studied with Richard Wilson, and I'll show you the difference in a moment. But what I saw in that Murray Spivak video, and what I've seen with Chad Wackerman, right, especially with Chad Wackerman, because he does a great explanation of it. You'll see him; he comes up like that, right? And Murray, see, that's what it is, right? That's what it is. So don't inhibit anything. And you see your arm and shoulder moving now. There you go. That's what we're looking to do here.
Okay.
Look at that. Squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release. That's what it is.
So, but with Richard, was there?
Okay, here's the difference with Richard. Richard would do this thing every now and then to exaggerate it, to show you the potential. So he might hold his bead here, and he would go like this. Right? That's the potential. It goes up that high. Right? That's the potential. So Richard would typically have us do this, right? And Richard's rationale for that was because of the kind of music we were playing, where you needed a really loud backbeat. So this is certainly a lot. This is probably more than you're ever going to need. But Richard wanted us to be able to have this kind of potential. So that was the difference. And actually he got criticism for that too.
But the point is, I think kind of the point Kevin was making is that, so like you can do this, you know, but then at the end of the day, when you're turning the wrist, you're not raising your arm further.
Well,
Versus,
that's not. Okay, please go to the end of your point. Sorry.
Versus Murray, that Murray's like you start this and then you do this.
Right.
Versus like if I'm here, if the maximum I turn if the maximum I cock my wrist up to here, that my only potential is up to here, so I can't do this.
Right. Well, yeah, because
Versus
this.
like if I really want like a massive backbeat, like I just need to cock my wrist even further, so that by then here I could like do this.
Yeah, you're not quite following it correctly though. Okay. So it's on the track. So see, it's all wrist turn. No matter, even though the arm and the shoulder are not involved, what motivates the movement is the wrist turn.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So wrist turn, wrist turn, wrist turn, even though this is moving. And one may even argue, no, well, you're using your arm and shoulder now. But where my focus and what I'm feeling is the motivator is my wrist.
Yeah,
okay. Okay, so here's the wrist. I'm still turning my wrist, see? It's a wrist turn. So try it again, but don't raise your arm before you turn your wrist. You keep going up. Now turn your wrist. Just turn your wrist. Almost. It's close. Try one more time. No, it's better to start at the bottom. Because if what you're doing right now is now you're holding your arm up like this. Okay, that's what it is. See, it's this, then it goes that high. It can actually come up to even with your eyebrows. Now turn. No, that's it. Yeah, okay. No, yeah, that this will get you into trouble because it feels like you're turning like this. But what actually is happening is if you want to reverse it, then you have to reverse it.
Ah, okay, fine.
Right? Yeah.
That's
So if you want to reverse it, then reverse the thing. That's how it reverses. That's the reversal. Right? So he would have
okay, you get that is different than this.
it's much different. Yeah, when I saw the Murray Spivak,
Like this for me
Louis
feels more
Belson?
natural. Actually, funny enough, this feels more natural to me.
yeah, well, it's the whole thing. See, and he'd sit there and he'd do shit like this,
I
man.
know.
Right? But the Murray thing, which I do enjoy, is this.
Me too.
Right, and that's really, I kind of use a cross between the two.
Oh, you do, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Even when I'm speaking when I'm speaking to you or speaking to anybody else, because this in the beginning is very useful. But what needs to be paid attention to is it all comes from the wrist.
Yeah, that it doesn't become this.
It's not this.
Yeah, I think
It's
that's the
this.
point.
That's the
So I totally see like I could only imagine like if I'm a Murray student to kind of have the tendency of doing this, but actually that's not the game.
that's what it looks like. It looks like that. Yeah. You see there. See, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze. Yeah, that looks really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to reaffirm, don't hold your shoulder. You're not holding your shoulder now. In the beginning, when we began this discussion, you were only coming up to like here.
Okay.
It didn't look like the shoulder, and I think I mentioned that
It is
it didn't look like your shoulder was involved. Okay. Very good. Okay.